The auditorium erupted in applause as Ethan Caldwell stepped off the stage, his valedictorian speech still echoing in the halls of Lincoln High School. But in the shadows backstage, his hands trembled as he replayed the moment that had shattered his perfect world just hours before. A stolen kiss with Jake Harlan, the school's notorious troublemaker, in the empty locker room. What was meant to be a private confession of hidden feelings had been captured on a classmate's phone. And now the video was spreading like wildfire through group chats, threatening to unravel everything Ethan had built. Ethan's phone buzzed relentlessly in his pocket as he navigated the crowd of well-wishers. His parents, Senator Robert Caldwell and his wife Margaret, beamed with pride from the front row, oblivious to the storm brewing. Ethan had always been their golden boy, the straight-A student, captain of the debate team, volunteer at the local church. But Jake was the antithesis. Expelled twice, tattoos peeking from under his sleeves, the kid from the wrong side of town whose single mom worked double shifts at the diner. How had Ethan, the epitome of discipline, fallen for someone so chaotic? It started innocently enough, or so Ethan told himself. They were paired for a senior project in history class, forced to research the civil rights movement together. Jake's initial sarcasm grated on Ethan, but beneath the bravado was a sharp intellect and a vulnerability that drew Ethan in. Late-night study sessions turned into deep conversations about dreams and fears. Jake opened up about his absent father, the bullying he'd endured for being different, and his quiet aspiration to become a mechanic despite everyone's low expectations. Ethan shared his own pressures, the suffocating weight of his father's political ambitions, the expectation to attend Yale and follow in his footsteps into law and public service. One evening, as rain pounded the library windows, Jake leaned in closer than usual. "You know, Caldwell, you're not as uptight as you pretend to be." Ethan's heart raced, a forbidden spark igniting. He pulled away, but the seed was planted. Over the weeks, stolen glances in the hallways evolved into secret meetings in the park after dark. Ethan rationalized it as friendship, but deep down he knew it was more. The internal conflict gnawed at him. What would his conservative family say? His father, who publicly opposed same-sex marriage in his campaigns, would disown him. And society? In their affluent suburb of Chicago, being gay wasn't just taboo. It was career suicide for someone like Ethan. The kiss happened on graduation morning. Jake had cornered Ethan in the locker room, his eyes fierce. "I can't keep pretending this isn't real," Jake whispered, closing the distance. Ethan's resolve crumbled, and for a brief moment, the world felt right. But then the door creaked open. Mark Thompson, the class gossip, with his phone out. "Holy shit," Mark muttered, fleeing before they could react. Now, as Ethan joined his family for photos, his mind raced. The video was out there. How long before it reached his parents? He forced a smile, but inside, panic surged. Jake texted him, "We need to talk. Meet me at the old bridge after the ceremony." Ethan deleted the message, his fingers slick with sweat. This wasn't just a kiss. It was a detonation that could destroy lives. That night, under the flickering streetlights of the abandoned bridge over the Chicago River, Jake paced anxiously. "We can deny it," he said, his voice rough. "Say it was a dare or something." But Ethan shook his head, tears welling. "It's not that simple, Jake. My dad, he'll cut me off. No college, no future." Jake's face hardened. "So what? You'd throw this away because of him?" The argument escalated, voices echoing off the water. Ethan felt torn, loyalty to his family versus the authenticity of his heart. In the end, he walked away, leaving Jake alone in the dark, the first crack in what would become a chasm of betrayal. Back home, Ethan lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The applause from graduation felt like a distant memory, replaced by the dread of exposure. He thought of his sister, Emily, who had always suspected something but kept quiet. Would she stand by him? And Jake, had he just sacrificed their budding connection for the illusion of safety? The moral dilemma weighed heavy. Was hiding his truth a necessary evil, or the ultimate cowardice? As dawn broke, Ethan's phone lit up with a call from his father. "Son, we need to talk. Now." His heart sank. The video had reached the senator. Senator Caldwell's office in their sprawling home was a fortress of mahogany and power. Framed photos with presidents, plaques from conservative think tanks. Ethan sat rigidly in the leather chair, his father's piercing gaze boring into him. "Explain this," Robert demanded, shoving his phone forward. The video played on loop. The kiss, clear as day. Margaret stood by the door, her face pale, hand clutching her pearls. It's not what it looks like," Ethan stammered, but the lie tasted bitter. His father's face reddened. "Not what it looks like. You're kissing another boy. In my town, with my name on the line." The outburst shook Ethan to his core. Robert paced, ranting about scandals, voters, the family's reputation. "You've been groomed or something. This isn't you." Margaret chimed in softly. "We can get help, therapy. It's just a phase." Ethan's mind flashed to Jake's words. Throw this away because of him? But here, faced with his parents' disappointment, the pressure mounted. He nodded weakly. "I'll fix it. I'll stay away from him." Inside, a storm raged. Guilt for denying his feelings. Anger at the world's unfairness. Was love worth the fallout? Word spread quickly through the suburb. By morning, whispers at the country club turned to outright stares. Ethan's phone flooded with messages. Supportive from a few friends, vicious from others. "Fag," one anonymous text read. He deleted them all, isolating himself. Jake called repeatedly, but Ethan ignored him, choosing silence as his shield. At school the next day, though classes were over, Ethan had to collect his diploma paperwork. The hallways felt hostile. Mark smirked as he passed. "Didn't peg you for that type, Caldwell." Ethan clenched his fists, walking away. But in the parking lot, Jake waited by his beat-up truck. "You ghosting me now?" Jake's eyes were red-rimmed, betrayal etched on his face. They argued in hushed tones. "My family's falling apart because of this," Ethan hissed. Jake shot back. "And what about us? You think I don't have shit to lose? My mom's already dealing with enough crap." Jake's vulnerability cracked through. His mom, Linda, a devout Catholic, had raised him alone after his dad left. Coming out to her would be devastating. But Jake was ready to fight. Ethan wasn't. In a moment of desperation, Ethan suggested they pretend it never happened. "We can say it was a prank." Jake recoiled. "Screw that. I'm not hiding who I am." He stormed off, leaving Ethan with a sinking realization. His choice had just pushed away the one person who truly saw him. Days blurred into a haze of family meetings. Robert arranged for Ethan to see a therapist specializing in reparative therapy, a term that made Ethan's stomach churn. "It's for your own good," his father insisted. Margaret baked cookies, her way of coping, but her eyes held unspoken judgment. Emily, home from college, pulled Ethan aside. "Is it true? About you and Jake?" Ethan confessed in whispers, tears flowing. She hugged him. "I support you, bro. But Dad, he's blind to anything that doesn't fit his image." The internal conflict intensified. Ethan attended the first therapy session, listening to the counselor spout outdated theories about confusion. He nodded along, but inside, rebellion stirred. Was he betraying himself for family harmony? The moral quandary haunted him. Loyalty to blood versus self-truth. Meanwhile, Jake faced his own battles. At home, Linda noticed his mood. "What's eating you, kid?" Over dinner, Jake blurted it out. "Mom, I'm gay. And there's this guy." Linda's fork clattered. Tears streamed as she invoked Bible verses, pleading for him to pray it away. Jake stood firm, but the hurt in her eyes cut deep. He left the house, driving aimlessly, wondering if love was worth the pain. Their paths crossed again at a community event, a fundraiser for Robert's re-election. Ethan, forced to attend, spotted Jake serving tables for extra cash. Their eyes met across the room, a silent plea. But when Jake approached, Ethan turned away, feigning conversation with donors. The snub was a dagger to Jake's heart. Later, in the restroom, Jake confronted him. "You're ashamed of me." Ethan whispered, "It's not you. It's everything." But the damage was done. Jake walked out, vowing to move on. Ethan returned home to find his father triumphant. The video's been scrubbed from most sites. Crisis averted. But Ethan felt hollow. The price of conformity. A fractured soul. Weeks turned into a suffocating routine. Ethan prepared for Yale, packing boxes while burying his emotions. His therapy sessions continued, each one chipping away at his resolve. The counselor praised his progress. But Ethan knew it was a facade. Nightmares plagued him, dreams of Jake's kiss turning to ashes under his father's glare. Social media amplified the divide. Anonymous accounts targeted Ethan with slurs, while Jake's friends rallied around him online, posting pride flags. Jake had come out publicly on his profile, a bold move that earned mixed reactions. Some applauded his courage. Others, from their conservative town, unleashed vitriol. Jake's job at the diner suffered. Customers whispered. Tips dwindled. But he held his head high, channeling pain into determination. One afternoon, Ethan drove to the diner on impulse. Jake was behind the counter wiping tables. "What do you want?" Jake asked coldly. Ethan hesitated. "To apologize." They stepped outside, the summer heat mirroring their tension. Ethan confessed his fears, the loss of family, future, identity. Jake softened slightly. "I get it. But hiding? That's killing you." For a moment, reconciliation seemed possible. They shared a tentative hug, but a passerby snapped a photo. Panic set in again. The photo leaked, reigniting the scandal. Robert exploded at home. "You're ruining us." He demanded Ethan cut all ties or face disownment. Margaret wept, caught between love for her son and loyalty to her husband. Emily argued on Ethan's behalf, but Robert shut her down. This family doesn't tolerate deviance. Ethan faced a crossroads. That night, he met Jake in secret at the park. "I can't do this halfway," Ethan said. Jake nodded. "Then choose." In a surge of bravery, Ethan kissed him, committing to the truth. But the decision came with immediate cost. Robert found out through a tip, confronting Ethan at dawn. "Pack your bags. You're out." Homeless and heartbroken, Ethan crashed at Emily's apartment in the city. She supported him, but the rift with his parents stung. Jake offered his couch, but Ethan declined, needing space to process. The societal backlash intensified. Old friends ghosted him. College acceptances felt tainted. Was authenticity worth isolation? Jake, meanwhile, dealt with his mom's ultimatum, change or leave. He chose to leave, crashing with a friend. The betrayal from family fueled his anger, leading to reckless decisions. One night, drunk at a bar, he flirted with a stranger, seeking validation. But guilt consumed him. He texted Ethan, confessing, "I screwed up." Ethan's response was forgiveness, but trust cracked. Their relationship, nascent and fragile, now bore scars. They met to talk, arguments flaring over loyalty and pain. "You think you're the only one hurting?" Jake yelled. Ethan countered, "I lost everything for this." The confrontation forced introspection. Were they fighting society or each other? As summer waned, Ethan applied for scholarships, determined to forge his path without his father's money. Jake enrolled in community college, pursuing mechanics. Their bond strengthened through adversity, but shadows lingered. A town hall meeting on LGBTQ rights brought tensions to a head. Robert spoke against protections, citing traditional values. Ethan attended, heart pounding. In a pivotal moment, Ethan stood up. "Dad, your values are destroying lives. Like mine." The room gasped. Robert's face paled as Ethan came out publicly. The aftermath was chaos, media frenzy, family silence. But for Ethan, it was liberation, albeit painful. Jake watched from the back, pride swelling. Yet, the exposure invited threats, hate mail, vandalism on Jake's truck. The couple faced the harsh reality. Love in a divided society demanded constant vigilance. Fall arrived, bringing crisp air and new beginnings. Ethan moved into a dorm at a state university, scholarship in hand. The distance from home offered breathing room, but the emotional scars festered. Calls to his parents went unanswered. Margaret sent secret care packages, a silent olive branch. Robert remained steadfast, his campaign ads touting family first with ironic hypocrisy. Jake visited on weekends, their relationship evolving amid college chaos. Late-night talks delved deeper. Jake shared childhood traumas. Ethan confessed lingering doubts. But external pressures mounted. At a campus party, a frat guy harassed them, slurring homophobic taunts. Jake punched him, landing in campus security. The incident made headlines, linking back to Robert's scandal. Ethan bailed him out, but resentment brewed. "You always react with fists," Ethan accused. Jake retorted, "And you with words that mean nothing." The fight escalated into a temporary breakup. Jake returned home, drowning sorrows at the diner. Linda, softening over time, invited him back. "I don't understand, but you're my son." Reconciliation with her brought hope, but missing Ethan ached. Ethan threw himself into studies, joining an LGBTQ support group. There, he met Alex, a charismatic activist who flirted shamelessly. Temptation arose, a chance for uncomplicated connection. One evening, after a rally, Alex kissed him. Ethan pulled away, guilt flooding. Was this betrayal? He called Jake, confessing. "I stopped it, but I was tempted." Jake's silence spoke volumes. Maybe we need space. The decision gutted them both. Ethan questioned everything. Had their love been a rebellion or genuine? The moral ambiguity tormented him. Fidelity versus self-discovery. Society's gaze intensified. Robert's opponent used the scandal in attack ads, painting him as a hypocrite. Polls dipped, forcing Robert to address it publicly. In a press conference, he deflected, "Personal matters are private." But privately, he seethed, blaming Ethan. Margaret reached out, meeting Ethan in secret. "Your father loves you, but pride blinds him." Tears flowed as she urged reconciliation. Ethan demanded acceptance. Not if it means hiding. The impasse highlighted the family divide. Love conditional on conformity. Jake, adrift, made a rash choice, applying for a job in another state. "Fresh start," he told friends. But deep down it was escape from pain. Before leaving, he confronted Ethan one last time. "Was it worth it?" Ethan whispered, "You were." They parted with a bittersweet kiss, uncertain futures ahead. Months passed. Ethan excelled academically, advocating for queer rights. A viral op-ed about his experience garnered support and hate. Death threats arrived, forcing him to change routines. The cost of visibility, safety sacrificed. Jake settled in Boston, thriving as a mechanic. But loneliness gnawed. He dated casually, but comparisons to Ethan haunted him. A family emergency, Linda's illness, brought him back. At the hospital, he ran into Margaret. "Ethan misses you," she said. The encounter sparked reflection. Was pride worth lost love? Robert, facing election defeat, hit rock bottom. A late-night call to Ethan. "I was wrong," but words felt empty. Ethan demanded action, public support for equality. Robert hesitated, the ultimate test of change. The reunion came unexpectedly at Linda's bedside. Jake and Ethan locked eyes, old flames reigniting. "I can't stay away," Jake admitted. They reconciled, vowing to face challenges together. But the path ahead loomed with obstacles: societal prejudice, family mending, personal growth. Election day dawned tense. Robert won by a slim margin, but the victory tasted hollow. In his speech, he surprised everyone. "I've learned from my son. Equality for all." The crowd murmured. Ethan watched on TV, a mix of hope and skepticism. Was this genuine or political maneuvering? Post-election, family dinner was awkward. Robert extended an olive branch. "Come home." Ethan brought Jake, testing waters. Tensions flared. Robert's discomfort evident, Margaret's efforts strained. Over dessert, arguments erupted about past hurts. "You disowned me," Ethan yelled. Robert countered, "I was scared." The raw honesty cracked facades. leading to tentative understanding. But healing required time. Jake's presence added layers. Linda, recovering, joined occasionally, her faith clashing with acceptance. God loves you, she told them, but undertones of judgment lingered. The couple navigated these minefields, their bond tested by external forces. A new conflict arose. Jake's job offer in California. It's a dream gig, he said. Ethan, midway through college, faced a dilemma. Follow or stay? The decision symbolized deeper issues. Sacrifice for love. Ethan chose to transfer schools, but resentment simmered. I'm giving up my life here, he confided to Emily. In California, they built a new routine. Ethan pursued psychology, specializing in LGBTQ mental health. Jake excelled at work, but isolation from family bred insecurity. Jake's late nights sparked jealousy. Ethan's activism consumed him. A heated argument exploded. You're never here, Jake accused. Ethan shot back. And you're flirting with coworkers? Paranoia from past betrayals fueled the fire. They sought counseling, unpacking traumas. The therapist highlighted patterns. Ethan's fear of abandonment, Jake's impulsivity. Progress was slow, each session revealing vulnerabilities. The process forced moral reckonings. Forgiveness versus grudges. Society's evolution offered glimmers. Marriage equality solidified, but pockets of hate persisted. At a pride parade, they marched hand in hand, empowered. But a counter-protester spat slurs, reminding them of fragility. Back home, Robert's shift proved real. He lobbied for anti-discrimination bills. Margaret volunteered at a queer youth center. Emily started a support group. The family's transformation inspired Ethan, but scars remained. Jake proposed one starry night on the beach. Marry me. Ethan accepted. Tears of joy. Planning the wedding unearthed old wounds. Who to invite? Robert walked Ethan down the aisle, a symbolic mending. Linda attended, praying silently. The ceremony was intimate, vows raw. Through betrayals and battles, I choose you. Guests applauded, but absent were those lost to prejudice. Honeymoon in Hawaii brought bliss, but reality intruded. Job stresses mounted. Ethan's thesis on societal impacts of coming out hit close. Research revealed statistics, higher suicide rates, discrimination. It fueled his passion, but exhausted him. A crisis hit. Jake's accident at work. A car lift malfunction, breaking his leg. Hospital bills piled, testing finances. Ethan worked extra jobs, sacrificing studies. The strain led to another fight. This life is too hard, Jake muttered. Ethan exploded. Then leave. Regret followed, but words wounded. Recovery forced reflection. Jake admitted fears. I drag you down. Ethan reassured. We lift each other. The ordeal strengthened them, highlighting love's resilience. Decades unfolded, their story a tapestry of triumphs and trials. Ethan became a renowned therapist, authoring books on queer identity. Jake owned a chain of auto shops, mentoring at-risk youth. Their son, Lucas, grew up loved, aware of his dad's journey. But echoes of the past resurfaced. Robert, retired, sought full reconciliation. Over holidays, stories shared bridged gaps. Linda passed peacefully. Her last words, I'm proud. The losses reminded them of time's fleeting nature. Society progressed. Laws protected, attitudes shifted. Yet regressions occurred. Political backslides threatened rights. Ethan and Jake advocated tirelessly, their love a beacon. In quiet moments, Ethan pondered the costs. Lost friendships, family rifts, personal pains. Was it worth it? Jake's hand in his affirmed yes. Their golden anniversary celebrated milestones. Lucas toasted, You taught me courage. Guests included old foes turned allies, even Mark, who apologized years prior. As the party wound down, Ethan and Jake walked the beach, reflecting. We beat the odds, Jake said. Ethan smiled. But at what price? The narrative closes on a lingering question. In a world rife with prejudice, is pursuing forbidden love an act of heroism or folly?